that the hush before the,
Yes,
There usually isn't a
She's,
hush on it.
she's delaying this, so it'll be longer.
we are live.
Okay,
That's
great.
my goal, so.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and call the Comprehensive Plan Strike Force meeting to order. This is a town hall meeting, and the first item is a roll call. And Ashley, if you would do that, please.
Sure. Chris Braden,
present.
Brooke Brown,
Present.
Brian Clinton,
Here.
Bill Boyle,
Here.
Ronald Hasso,
Here.
David Smith,
Present.
and Chair Tom Farrell.
Here. Public comments. Citizens wishing to address the Comprehensive Plan Strike Force for items not on the agenda will be received at this time. And do we have anybody that would like to speak? I'm not seeing any hands. The consent agenda, the next item, discussion and possible action on the minutes of the September 27th, 2021 joint meeting between the Comprehensive Plan Strike Force and the Rolling Wood Community Development Corporation. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
We have a motion.
Second.
And we have a second. Discussion, seeing none, but it'd probably help if I put my glasses on to see. Not seeing any. All those in favor? And that passes. Regular agenda, discussion and public comment regarding the final draft of the comprehensive plan strike force. Okay. Do we have anybody in the public that would like to make a comment on that?
You want that to be the first before we start discussion?
I'm going to allow, let's do that, just if you don't mind. It's a public meeting, so if you'd like to make these comments now and make further comments later, you can.
All right. Shanti Jay Kumar, 3309 Park Hills Drive. Resident of Rollingwood since 1983. So have fully invested in our community and want it to last for the next 50, 100 years, whatever. Anyway, I believe, and Tom, please correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's almost a year to the date. I think it was October 14th of 2020 when you guys started your first meeting.
It seems like longer.
Well, I dug through, I have a file folder this thick, and one of the things was a calendar from October, and it said Strike Force kickoff meeting 4 p.m. on 14th of October last year. Anyway, I'll go by that date. But in this last 1 year, Tom, this is to you.
Yes, ma'am.
With you at its helm, I don't know, you had what, 16, 18 members? I don't know however many you started with. You developed a master plan that is, on every level, a superior document to the one developed and presented by an outside vendor in July of 2020, and not by a citizen-led committee like the one you all have formed. And I truly appreciate all the hard work that has gone in from your whole committee. So I think it was a course of almost 50 weeks. It was a Mondays with the Strike Force for me, and I think I attended almost every meeting virtually, and I can proudly declare that this comprehensive plan is as perfect as it can be. It is, in my mind, it's like the Declaration of Independence, by the people, for the people, and of the people. You all truly made it that, and I want to thank you all for that. The structure, the content, and relevant areas of concerns, comments, suggestions by the survey that you all did of the residents has been recorded and presented with transparency, accuracy that can only come when a group of concerned neighbors, our own citizens, come together to develop a plan that is inclusive and relevant to what we all love most about and what we care about, our beloved community. Thank you for your hard work. I really don't have enough words to express how deeply grateful I am personally, and I know a lot of my neighbors are, who could not be here today, and some of them are here, for Tom and your committee. I don't want to go down all the list of names, but you all know who you are. Thank you. And again, it is not perfect, but this is as perfect can be. And this is a plan, so we can, make changes down the line, and I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank
very
you,
much.
Shanti. Let me clarify one thing.
Oh,
Generally, I got in the way and slowed things down from the committee moving on this. This was, I had some, the people on the committee pulled the horses on this, I'll just tell you that. And it's fantastic, and this is a snapshot, I think, of what the city wants right now and where we are on that. And that's what it has to start with, is doing that. So, and the truth of the matter is it took a lot longer than I anticipated, than any of us anticipated. I think, Ryan, I wish I had your wording. I don't have your skills on that. I thought what you did last meeting and about your comments about it took a while to settle the community down enough to be able to focus on not the immediate issue, but what a long-term issue was. I thought it was an excellent, in fact, I asked Ashley to get me a copy of that, so, because I thought that was just great on that. I don't know if you remember what you said.
I'll sign autographs afterwards, though. So.
But it was it did take longer, and but it's a lot of work, and the good part is, I met with a lot of people, and we've talked to a lot of people, and we've tried to address their concerns that they had on that. And, like I said, nothing is absolute, and this is going to go to just so you know procedurally, it's going to go to the planning and zoning. They're going to look at this, make their comments, and then submit it to the city council for final approval on that. So, and I trust that they'll take into account all of the input that we put in it as we go forward, so it's not, they take into account everything that we put in there. There are, I think, which is not, which we list, but is not in this report directly, all of the reports and that we went through and looked at. And there were 20, maybe, reports that we analyzed as we went through this, and that's these are all reports for the most part. I think 2 of them were things that we looked at that did not pertain to, that the city didn't pay for, that we got. But most of these are things that the city paid for over the last, since 1995 maybe, 98. That we paid for, and we've kind of looked through those to go back and do that. So I'm trying to figure out what kind of a flash drive I need to give to get all this on there, and we don't know yet. But that's I'd like to express my appreciation for everybody for all the work y'all done and the comments we have. We have several people that are traveling today and couldn't be here. Wally Grainer his input was in there. Meredith was very good about bringing forth a bunch of things that I didn't know were there, which I'm glad she did on that. And both of them are out of pocket today and couldn't be here. I think Wally is on a cruise, and which is good that he gets to do that. And he's been putting it off for a while. And then Meredith is not going to, she was traveling and coming back, and I didn't think she would make it. She said she probably couldn't make it, but I do appreciate their input, and they're not here, so we do that. Okay, so let's go through. Is any other public comments? Not seeing any. Diana? So, okay. Well, let's go through, and I'll ask if any of our committee members have anything they wish to add. And I'll just let everybody, that anybody wants to make a comment, please just signify, and we'll bring it up. So, Brooke, Ryan, Mo, Chris?
I would like to echo Shanti's comments, and thank you, Tom, for your excellent leadership in this project. It's been superb. And
I said, I feel like I got in the way more than led, but that's okay. And we got it done, and I appreciate the fact that we did this from a citizen standpoint. We did have some
Yes.
people help write it, but it was the data, I hope, was done. And, you know, I tried to listen to some of our experts on this committee that said, don't let them capture the narrative outside of our group on that. And I hope we were able to do that. So, and so that's, and I just want to express my appreciation again for all the hard work y'all have done. You know, we've got some brilliant people here. You know, but the easiest way to lead a deal is not be the smartest person on the group. So, you know, I didn't have to worry about that with this group, I'll say that. And very hardworking, and I do appreciate everything that y'all have done. And I will make sure that when I'm gonna draft a letter to send this on, and as I do, I'll make sure that I'll signify the accomplishments of the people we had do this on that. Yes, Ron?
I do want to echo Tom. I know you're the kind of person who is an all shucks kind of guy and doesn't want any of the attention, but you really did drive this process and really pushed us when we were stuck a few times, really smashed our heads a couple of times to try to get decisions made, and the community does owe you very much for taking this on. It was not a task that I don't think anybody wanted to take on. And whether you were voluntold or volunteered, we do appreciate very much. A couple of the things that I think are worth mentioning before we close, if we're on that path. When the city council first began to talk about the need for a comprehensive plan, they identified several goals. And I think it's worth mentioning that I think we've checked off those goals. The first was to meet any statutory requirements of having a comprehensive plan for purposes of shaping future zoning decisions. And I think that we have checked that off. The second was to tie all of the existing reports together into a unifying document. Because, you know, we have all these reports. We have reports on drainage, we have reports on traffic, we have reports on all of these various parts of the city, the services and the things that the city provides, and it was the request of council that we kind of tie those all in together into one existing document. They asked us to come together and put together a plan that would loosely guide near and far term decision making, because we have a lot of needs and we have a lot of different viewpoints. And so it was, the concept was to attempt to, you know, gather the citizen input and put together a document that loosely guides. You know, nothing is written in stone. It's just a vision document. To solidify and stabilize the planning process for future financing purposes, so that the anyone judging our fiscal abilities would understand that we have a guide for where we want to take the city. And last, and I think most importantly, to assess and reflect the will of the residents as best we could. And we did. I'm particularly proud that we went, that we had so many public meetings, that we did 2 surveys. The first one that went out, and a second one that was, you know, very robust and debated publicly. We even debated the survey publicly. So I don't think that there is a process where we could have requested more citizen input. And this is what, the 3rd town hall. It's hard to get people. We know it's hard to get people, but it's our job to give them opportunities. And I think, Tom, you have led the effort very well in
Well, I appreciate it.
in
Again,
each of those goals. So I know you don't want to hear it, but so stop with the all shuck stuff. Those were the goals, as I recall, at the beginning of this process, the city council asked us to. And Tom, through your leadership, I think we've met the goals that the city council asked us to. So anyway, thank you, Tom. I think
very
we've done our
good. Well, I
job.
appreciate that. So, we got any other comments? I'd like to make? Shanti?
I don't know, I thought we were going to have, I don't want to be the only one making the comment.
Oh, you're okay.
But I did go through some things and wanted to at least, okay.
Yep.
Since I'm here, okay. Do I need to say my name again? Okay. Okay. I went through as best as I could. I'm addressing all of you here. And I found most of the things were very accurately portrayed, really, compared to the survey. And also some of those long answers that you got. But some things that did not get as much attention, maybe because the survey didn't have it. And I'm thinking we really need to focus a little bit more on City Hall and the needs of our building and that of the police. It's not just for aesthetics, it is for functioning of our, the main, premises that we have for the functioning of our city government. So that's something I'm hoping that as the P&Z and the City Council debated, they would bring that up. It's possible that the citizens did not put too much emphasis on it because they may not be familiar with, but having served on the council, it's a long time ago, but I'm quite aware of how our needs are not met right now for our city staff. And what I felt was one of the things that y'all did it's on page 25, which covers both the residential and the commercial. And I just want to read this out because I think it really encapsulates what the surveys said. It says residents strongly oppose permitting hotels, apartment complexes, or large condominium developments in the Bee Cave Road commercial corridor. Residents also oppose increasing building heights in commercial areas. Residents' concerns about additional development on Bee Caves Road include the risk of increased traffic within both the commercial and residential areas, and losing the low-density, high quality of life currently maintained in Rollingwood. So I think on every level, the community has spoken loud and clear as to why they came to Rollingwood, to live here, to pick their home here. And that's something that we really need to maintain, regardless of whatever, changes you all make in here. I think that should be the guiding light in that entire process going forward. So whatever it takes to convey that message to the city council, if you do it or whoever does it, I think that is very, very important that we preserve what we really love most about Rollingwood. Again, that's just one statement, and I don't want to go into this more than I need to, but I could write up something at some point of time, since you all have other things you all probably need to talk about. But please keep that in mind as your guiding light, that this is for the people, by the people, of the people. And what the people said, we need to listen. Thank you.
Thank you, Shanti.
And Tom, following up on Shanti's comments, this is still at least from my perspective, this is still a working document. It's still very much a straw man. It's got to go to P&Z. It's got to go to council. So, from a public comment standpoint, to the extent people in the community, people in the city have comments, I would encourage you guys to, and particularly, if there's specific comments, either broad comments or specific comments, I'd encourage anyone who has further comments on aspects of the draft comprehensive plan to write us, although we're handing this over, thankfully, but write P&Z, write City Council, because there's still some public process to go. I view our role as getting a draft out there and up to the city leaders and the decision makers, and I'm proud of the work that this group did on the document. there are literally hours and hours and hours, and I think if you added up some of the billable time spent on this, it's a valuable document. So, but I'd encourage the public to stay engaged, stay involved, because there are going to be some more decisions made and some more refinements made to it. So thanks.
Thank you, David. And I did want to point out a couple things. We have Councilmember Sarah here, and we have, just for the record, we do have 4 of our candidates running for city council here, and at least one other one is watching us on camera. Couldn't be here, but is watching us on camera. Amy is watching us on camera. So I appreciate the fact that, number one, that all of y'all are willing to step up to the plate and run on that, and 2, that I would encourage y'all to, if you haven't had a chance to read this final document, because I think it would be useful from a operational standpoint later on as we go through, and whoever's elected will be able to implement this as it goes through on that, and make adjustments as time requires on that. So anyway.
Is the best way for the public to engage at this stage still to email Ashley and ask her to forward it on?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I think so. And that way we make sure that everything is of record and doesn't get lost in the deal. And although Ashley probably would not agree with that, but that's probably what we'll still do. I imagine Ashley's as happy to be through with this process as all the rest of us on that. So anyway, any other comments? Anybody else would like to make a comment, and our citizens or anybody on the commission? Not seeing any. So we will close the town hall meeting, and I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion? Second. And we have a second. All those in favor? I know it's hard to leave, but we're going to have to sometime or another. And thank everybody for coming. One closing deal, I wanted to comment on 2 things just for the record before we really adjourn, is we did have some citizens that are not on this committee that did contribute to us with some informational deals. Shanti is the go-to person on history of Rollingwood. I had to get some correct dates, and hopefully the dates we have here have been researched, and if you look through many of the other documents we looked at, they had incorrect dates on them. So this would be a document, if nothing else, you can go by the dates and be pretty comfortable that we've got the right dates on historical things that have happened in Rollingwood. We also had Jeff that produced a projection of some tax revenues that may come from ad valorem in the future, which I thought was fantastic. And that was I think a very useful, it could be a useful tool for the city, not from a budgetary, but from a planning standpoint. So I did want to acknowledge them as we went through this. And once again, I thank everybody for everybody's contribution and time. Some of y'all work on the hour, and I realize that's a tougher deal than those of us that work on a project basis.
Yeah, what David said was actually a little upsetting to me when I started thinking about it.
Okay, so we've got.
I don't think about it.
So we are adjourned. Thank y'all all again so much. Thank you, Ashley, for everything you've done. I got you out in
I know, bro.
time.
Easy enough.
Chris, thank you. I wasn't sure I asked about it. I appreciate it.
How's the house going?
That's okay.
Slow and steady, but slow and steady is good. But we got some concrete plans pushed back like 3 weeks.